Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Business Spotlight. I am Scott McMeans, and today I'm joined by Toni Mullee from the Down Syndrome Association of Northeast Ohio. This is going to be a different episode because you're going to get a chance to learn about this amazing organization, the families they serve, the people they help out, and the great work they do in Northeast Ohio, and quite frankly, throughout Ohio. So, Toni, if you would please introduce yourself. The microphone and camera are yours.
Okay, well, I'm Toni Mullee, the Executive Director of the Down Syndrome Association of Northeast Ohio. And I have been a part of this organization for close to 12 years. I came here from another nonprofit, spent the first part of my career in the for profit world, and then
Mhm.
been in nonprofit for a while since then.
What is it about the nonprofit world that drew you to make the move over from the profit world?
It was a pretty easy decision for me. I spent a number of years with one company. Um, it's called Telecheck. I think they're still around. They're a check processing company, so that tells
Yeah.
you how long ago that was. Um, but I just the it was just difficult to have joy in the for-profit world for me. I wanted to have more of a purpose, I guess. And maybe that was because I'd spent so many years with one company essentially. But I just wanted to just pivot, and it was for sure the right decision for me.
Okay. Why is that the right decision for you? I love the idea, Toni, that you say you wanted to find your purpose for yourself and then have joy, which is an amazing thing to have in a work-life balance. I'm curious, what was it about nonprofit that really drew you in?
Well, I think it's why anybody is in nonprofit, probably, and that's just because the desire to help the community that we live in and the people who live in that community just seemed like something that I wanted to spend my time doing. We all know how much time we spend working, and for me, it just seemed like that was the direction that was going to fulfill me the most.
I like it. So, what is it about the work that you're currently doing at Down Syndrome Association of Northeast Ohio that is so fulfilling? Walk us through that pathway.
So, I think the reason that I really decided to come to this organization in the first place was that it was so focused on families and
Mhm.
local families. I certainly had worked in some other organizations that served families as well, but this one really seemed like it was supportive of so many families here, and it was something that meant a lot to me. So, doing that, making that decision just was easy. And since I came to the organization, we've been able to really do some great things for families. We've expanded our programming quite a bit. We've really focused on making sure that we are serving all ages. So, families that have a newborn to families that have an adult that's a senior. I mean senior citizen, not senior in high school or college.
I appreciate the
Um,
clarification. No, because that's a big gap, right? We want to make sure that we
yeah.
have people understanding anywhere from a newborn all the way to a family member that is older and through their many years, and now they need just as much attention as somebody else in the family. And your organization does every age, so that's good.
We do. And, I think what we've really seen over the past several years, especially, is the need to support families that do have older loved ones with Down
Mm,
syndrome. This organization has been around for over 40 years. So think about those original families that started this organization. Their kids are now
yeah.
older. They're in their 40s, of course, and even older. So the needs have changed, and the demographics have changed because we have probably half of the individuals with Down syndrome that we serve that are adults.
Would it be safe to say, Toni, that over the number of years you've been working with the organization, if I heard you right, it's been 12 years.
Almost.
Okay. Have you seen? a change from working with younger people. Now you're working with younger people and you've opened it up to say, we're working with all these different people. And that's happened in the last 12 years, or has it been longer than that?
So I would say when in the first few years that I was here, we started hearing from families that said, "Hey, we need more." And this
Mm.
was for families that had a loved one with an adult. So it took us a while to have the capacity to be able to provide that additional support and programming. Um, and I would say it's really picked up probably in the last 5 years. In fact, we now have a staff member that's specifically devoted to healthy aging. So we have a
Oh,
teen and adult director, and then we have someone who focuses on individuals with Down syndrome that are 35 and older because their needs are different. Their needs do change, and their
yeah.
families' needs change as well. We hear from a lot of siblings who say, "Hey, I need help. I'm now responsible for my brother or my sister. Or maybe a parent has passed away or just doesn't have the ability to take care of their loved one with Down syndrome." So the conversations that we're having have really changed.
It's interesting. I think a lot of people out there probably just take it for granted that whomever is a family member with Down syndrome, the family takes care of them. And I fully understand why that would be the case. But if you start listening to what you're talking through here, is that is the case, but what if mom and dad are no longer available to help? What if something happens and now we've got this aging population of amazing people with these amazing talents that don't have somebody to help take care of the family that takes care of them? And that's what you guys do with the Down Syndrome Association. So it's neat to see how it's transitioned from taking care of young babies and young adults to now you've got this whole spectrum of anybody in that world is now a possibility for you to take care of. And I think that's wonderful. And I want to throw this out there. Your office is in Independence, Ohio, and I've had the pleasure of meeting you there. And you have a storefront with these amazing products that people with Down syndrome throughout the country provide for your storefront so you can help them kind of run a business and be a
Hmm.
productive member of society despite whatever somebody may think of them. And if anybody in the audience has a chance to go to Independence, look them up because it's really cool. They have artwork, they have this amazing jelly, they have so many different arts and craft type things, but it's the introduction that the human beings that you serve, the families and the people with Down syndrome, they are treated as if they're real people. They don't have any issues. They're treated as if they are contributing members of society, and your organization helps them fulfill that dream. And I think that's amazing. So thank you for doing that. And I
Oh,
highly
thank you.
recommend people visit you at the shop so they get a chance to see this. And you get a chance to see the educational information, the setting that you have there for people. I think it's astonishing work that you're doing.
Thank
I
you.
want to pivot just a little bit and ask what is so unique about your organization that allows the volunteers to work with you and the families that you're serving that come to you to ask for help or you reach out to provide help? What's so unique about your organization that makes people want to connect to you?
Well, I would say first the fact that we do serve individuals throughout their lifetime is critical. We say at any age, at any stage, we are there for our families. So and we know that families come to us at various points in their child's life. So maybe we see them a lot when their child is a newborn or a toddler, and then they start school and they get busy, and maybe they're focused on school activities and sports. So maybe we don't see them quite as often. So I think the fact that we are here whenever they need us is what makes us a good organization to serve the community. And I also think I just have to say that our staff is amazing. So, and I'm not including myself in that because I do not do the incredible work that they do, but having staff members that themselves are family members, most are
Yeah.
parents. of children with Down syndrome at various ages. So they really have that life experience. They can really help and support families in a way that maybe not everybody else can. And because we do cover so many different stages of life, we have a number of different staff members. So we have one focused on 0 to 3, one focused on like 3 to
Okay.
6. We have an education director. Then I already mentioned our teen and adult director and healthy aging. So, we just are trying to make sure that we are meeting the needs of as many families as we can. And we know we're probably, we can't be everything. We can't
Right.
do it all. But we're trying to come as close to that as we can as an organization.
And I think that's something that most organizations can learn from is trying to be everything to everybody. You can't do it because somebody's always going to fall through the cracks or they're going to not like what you're doing. What
Right.
you need to do is, right, is put forward your value proposition, which is an astonishing value proposition, and allow people to see what you do, how well you do it, the people you serve, and they get connected to you in a way that they can actually appreciate being a part of this movement in this organization to make sure that they are part of something bigger than themselves. I think that's what's really cool about what you do.
And I
And
do think, as far as volunteers, we have so many options for volunteers. If someone wants to do something on a regular basis, we have education enrichment. During the school year, every Saturday, we have a cooking class twice a month for adults in
so cool.
person. We have golf. We have um, and then we have one-off activities. We have a fall fest coming up at the end of this month. We have a big holiday party in December. So we are we love volunteers. We need them like every nonprofit organization does. But we have a lot of different opportunities for people.
Yeah. And real quick, what's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you or the organization so they can volunteer?
So we have a great volunteer coordinator. Her name is Mandy, and she can be reached at mandy@dsaneo.org. So you can email her, or you can go on our website. We have a volunteer page, and there's a very simple inquiry form that we ask you to fill out, and then she will contact you and find out where your interests lie and get you set up to start volunteering for us. Um, and you can certainly call the office at any time. And
What's the phone number?
it's 216-447-8763.
Perfect. I want to make sure people get attached to these contact points. So I'll make sure they're in the description below so people can get
Okay.
in touch. Website, Mandy's email, if you'd like that on there. Perfect. We'll
Yep.
get that out there so people can connect. Um, we're talking about some of the great things your organization does with respect to the staff and the services. What geographic markets are you covering?
So we serve 16 counties in Northeast Ohio. It's about 1,100 families that we're serving. And there are other Down syndrome associations throughout the state. We're all independent organizations, but we also collaborate. So we know that all 88 counties in the state are being served by one of those Down syndrome associations. And, we do sometimes we'll share programming, especially virtual programming. Um, we all collaborated to have the state get start a Down syndrome awareness license plate. So that was one of our projects that
Yeah,
we collectively did statewide. So those kinds of things we do, and we talk about what's working for us in our own areas and see how we can learn from one another and provide the best services possible to families.
that's awesome. I I didn't realize it was 16 counties. And how
Yeah,
many families did you say you're dealing with?
about 1,100.
Wow. And that's impressive. And throughout the whole state, you have a number of different organizations you can collaborate with. So it isn't that you're a standalone organization on an island trying to do this. You do your best to serve Northeast Ohio in the 16 counties, but there's a whole network of collaboration that takes place throughout the state. And the best example is you've got an awareness license plate that really brings attention to what you do. So that's incredible.
Yeah,
I love
thanks.
it. So as we walk through what you've done, what are some of the best rewards that come with working with the Down Syndrome Association?
I have to say, um, every year we have this buddy walk. It's a big walk that it takes place in the summertime, and it brings together several thousand people. And I just was thinking about this because we just had it a few weeks ago. As I was what I typically do is it's a 1 mile walk, and I'll usually go in the opposite direction of everybody else because it's the only way that I can see people. There are so many people there. Um, and it's just so great to see self advocates, to see their families, to hug them, to see how they're doing. So for me, I think the reward is really just connecting with so many different people in the Down syndrome community and feeling like they appreciate what we are doing for them. I've made so
Yeah.
many wonderful friends of the families that we serve and the individuals that we serve, and it's just the most rewarding thing. It's very hard to
I
describe.
no, Tony, I can't imagine the feelings that come across when you're walking in the opposite direction. You almost get flooded with everybody because they're walking opposite, but you see them coming at you, and it's got to be friend after friend after friend after friend of people you've known for years. Like you've been doing this for 12 years. I Are there families that you've known from the first year that
Oh, for
still are part of
sure.
the buddy walk?
Oh,
Right. So
yes, yes, yes.
that's an impressive piece, right? There's a lot going on there. So that's a really nice reward. Um, is there anything else that you'd want to talk about when it comes to rewarding or what the rewards are with the families that you work with?
So we do a pretty robust education enrichment program here. We do on Saturdays we're doing the programming during the school year, and in the summertime we're doing a little like kind of like a mini summer camp for younger
Mhm.
kids with Down syndrome. And we've seen some really amazing results of that programming. Um, we have seen some of our students really make great strides, and what we're doing in our little kids classroom that's just enrichment and fun and
Mhm.
just a great time for these kids is really making an impact on their education when they're in school. So I think that has been very rewarding as well. And our education director and her staff are amazing what they do for the children that we serve in that programming. But to know for a fact that it's improving
Yeah.
the education of kids with Down syndrome is just great.
Well, to be able to know that the work you're doing translates to real life change and real life enrichment, and I'm going to use your word joy, I can't imagine how empowering that must be for you and your staff to have somebody walk in for the first time as a family and they may be confused on what's going to happen, and before they know it they have this amazing relationship not only with you but the child or the person that has Down syndrome and the family. Now it's a different environment that they all can thrive in because they have exposure to people like yourself in the organization that does the great, wonderful enrichment activities that you do. I think it's more of a communal bringing together for individuals and families that it kind of gets lost in the shuffle that it's actually an organization trying to serve a bunch of people. I'm blown away and overwhelmed by what you do. So I want to give you the credit for that.
Oh, thank you. I will tell you another very quick story.
Please.
Um, we started a program called Sunburst Snacks a couple of years ago, and what we do is we bring young adults in for a 12-week training program. They package snacks, they learn about marketing, they go out and sell at pop-up shops, so they're learning money skills and customer service skills, and just all kinds of great things. And we've had a couple of participants that were really struggling with getting community employment once just on their own. And once they were able to go through our program,
Mm.
found jobs in the community and they're doing great. And so, to really see that connection, like we started at A, boy, did we really get to where we needed to go. That kind of stuff. It's just like there are just no words for this, the level of satisfaction that that brings.
I appreciate you giving that story, and I want to not maybe put a bow on it, but I'm thinking of what an amazing story. Like you said, somebody wants to contribute to society, wants to be independent, and they're not sure how to do it because they haven't had the connections. They don't know these programs are available. And they go from, like you said, they started at A, and now, wow, they have a job and they're an independent individual. They're contributing, and there's so much more to their joy and value in life that it's all connected. And I'm I'm impressed by that. I forgot about the Sunburst snacks program, and that's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Um, and again, I look at programs like what you have in your store. The gentleman that had that amazing pepper jelly that I keep bragging about and telling the people to go try. It's those are the things that okay, you don't have to be limited by what circumstances you're in. Your only limitation is opportunity that you take a hold of, and that's what I think the Down Syndrome Association is all about: is giving people opportunity to thrive despite what people may have as a perception of them. And I mean
Yes.
that both from the individuals that are impacted by Down syndrome and the families that are impacted as well. There is no
Mhm.
limitation because the programming is great. The education is bringing people from, like you said, where they were to where they can be. And I'm, as you know, as a business coach, I'm all about taking people from where they are to where they want to be. So I commend you on that. One
Thank you.
thing I want to talk to you about is the culture and the vision of Down Syndrome Association. What do you see happening in the next 5, 10 years? What are some of the things that you're looking forward to that's going to maybe take you on a different path, but improve what you're doing or have a better connection to the community? I'm just curious. What do you think the vision is?
So I think our focus over the next several years will be making sure that we are serving all families in our community. So this year we have been working on making sure that we are reaching families that are Spanish speakers, for example. So we've translated all of our materials into Spanish, all of our
Mm,
brochures, everything. Um, we're making sure that we have someone on staff who is a Spanish speaker because sometimes we do have families that need to communicate in that way. So I think we will continue our work making sure that all communities within Northeast Ohio are being served. If they have a child with Down syndrome, we want to make sure that we are there for them. So that is a big focus of ours, without a doubt.
I love
And
that.
I really think too over it's hard to think 5 years, 10 years when you're just trying to get through the week or the year. But
I agree.
I think it's really making sure that we understand what's happening within our community and we are making the adjustments that are necessary to our programming to meet the needs. And I think we will continue to focus on our older individuals with Down syndrome. I also think another area that we have turned our attention to a little more brightly is our medical outreach program. This is where we are working with medical professionals here within Northeast Ohio to make sure that they have the information and the tools they need to take care of people with Down syndrome. Oftentimes, a doctor may only have one or two patients with Down syndrome. So
Mm,
maybe they don't have all the information that they need at their fingertips. So we've been working very hard on creating those connections. And I would expect that those relationships would continue to grow. We're so lucky in this area to have the medical facilities that we have, the
yeah.
amazing hospitals. So we want to make sure that our individuals with Down syndrome have the best care possible, and anything we can do to make that happen in working with the medical community, we will be doing that.
Love that. And you're right. We have an unbelievable blessing here in Northeast Ohio that we have the Cleveland Clinic and University Hospitals and Metro Health.
Yeah.
It's a spectacular part of the country that I think goes unrecognized because we're so used to it by being Clevelanders or those from Northeast Ohio that we do not pay attention to how good we have it. And that's
Mhm.
great that you're doing a medical outreach program to bring that quality care into your space. Um, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that you need help with that this community or the people that watch or your volunteers can help take on, or at least do what they can to collaborate with you to help you through those challenges? What's coming up in the next year or so that you see as some of the bigger challenges?
So, I hate to sound like every nonprofit on the planet, but
Yeah,
every nonprofit struggles with finances. So,
yeah,
in order to do the programming that we know is necessary, we need to make sure that our funding is very, very strong. So, we're always looking for opportunities to connect with potential donors. We're also looking for the chance to maybe work with potential board members who might have an interest in our cause. Maybe they
hmm,
have a family member with Down syndrome. Maybe they grew up with a friend with Down syndrome, or maybe they just realize the value of supporting an organization like this. But we want corporate folks out there to consider coming to us to consider board membership. We're always recruiting. We have a very, very strong board, but we love to have a variety of skills in place. We want to have the lawyers, the accountants, the marketing
yeah,
people. We want to have a wide range of experts that can help us get to where we need to go with this organization. And, along those same lines, volunteers continue to be critical. If it were not for volunteers, there's so much that we would not be able to do. So, building that volunteer pipeline and that group of core folks that just want to make a difference in the lives of people with Down syndrome here in Northeast Ohio, because it really does benefit everybody. Um,
yeah. No, I can see
yeah.
that. We've given out the phone number and getting in touch with Mandy. What is a volunteer's experience like? Let's go back to a couple weeks ago, the buddy walk you made comment to. What would a volunteer, what needs for volunteers do you have, and what would their typical day look like? Does that make sense?
At the Buddy Walk?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because I'm thinking of ways for people to be engaged with you, and I want
Mhm.
them to understand, okay, if I want to volunteer, what does that look like? What do I volunteer for? How do I help?
Yeah. So it really does depend. I mean, I think the nice thing is if you say, I really don't like the idea of volunteering at a gala or, some fundraising event,
Hmm.
that's okay because we've got other opportunities. So it's very hard to define it because there are so many options, but I'll give a couple of examples.
Please.
Um, let's say you are interested in supporting our education enrichment. So you would come to the office for your scheduled class, and you would be instructed by our education director and her staff on what you're going to be doing that day in the classroom. And you will be in the classroom with our kids. So you'll probably be assigned to one of our students and you'll work one on one and you'll help them with what they're doing. Or if we are doing an activity maybe that takes us outside or takes us to another part of the building, we'll all do that, and you'll help out with these larger activities as well. And then you can be done in as short a time as a couple of hours if that's all you're looking for. But let's say
Sure.
you do want to do a buddy walk or a holiday party, which is a more extensive volunteer opportunity. So you get there maybe an hour before the start of the event. You help us set up, you get your assignment, you get whatever brief training you might need, and then you get to interact again with the families, with the kids with Down syndrome, with their siblings. Maybe you're working a craft, maybe you're checking people in, maybe you're distributing gifts. There's so many ways that you can help. And the way that we set it up is for every event, we have a sign up genius, and so you can see what the different opportunities are and what the time is for each of them. So you look through and see what works with your schedule and where is your interest. Do you love doing crafts? And sign up for the crafts. Do
Yeah.
you just want to make sure that the kids get to see Santa? Then you're our Santa and Mrs. Claus monitor, or whatever we call it, I don't even know. So I guess what I'm saying is there's just so many ways that you can help us. It really depends on what you want.
Okay. Now, that's great because I want to be able to promote the idea that people can connect with you and start volunteering in any capacity. It sounds like it goes from a gala event, a buddy walk, or a party festival, whatever you're putting on, or show up in Independence office and work with families right there and then on the spot because you have a skill and a passion for an area that is needed. Is there an optimal number of volunteers that you have in your head as far as how to best run the organization? Do you need hundreds of volunteers, thousands? What are we talking about here?
We do need hundreds of volunteers to
Hundreds.
make
Yeah.
everything happen.
Okay. And on average every year, how many volunteers do you have?
Well, because the Buddy Walk requires so many volunteers, I would say we probably have maybe 3 or 400 volunteers a year.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What an endorsement of what you're doing that we can find 300 to 400 people willing to invest their time to make sure that this not only goes off without a hitch, but they want to contribute because they are passionate about what you do. So that is a true testament to what you have available for everybody at the Down Syndrome Association of Northeast Ohio. This is great. I've gotten a number of different things. I want to make sure everything is written down in the description so people can get in touch. So we'll make sure that happens. Give me a list of the upcoming events that would be very impactful for you and the Down Syndrome Association.
So we have a couple of really fun things that happen in the fall and winter. First is our Fall Fest, which actually is out at Patterson's in Chesterland. Chesterland, I think. So that is
Okay.
probably about 150 people join us on that day, um, families and their kids. So we're always looking for volunteers to help out with that. We
What's
also
the
have our
date? What's the
it
date?
is September 29th.
Okay, perfect.
We also have our holiday party, which is December 8th. That's the big one.
Yeah.
And we host about 500 people for that event. We've
Wow.
broken it down into two seatings just to make it more comfortable for people. We used to try and jam everybody uh, to this ballroom at the Independence Holiday Inn, and it just some of our kids have sensory issues, and
Hmm.
noise can be an issue, it can be a problem, so we decided to split it into two seatings, but that requires just so much help because we do have Santa and Mrs. Claus, we have a DJ, we have crafts, we have caricature artists, we have a magic man is his name, actually, the magic man. um we have lunch for everybody, so we need a lot of, oh, and we distribute gifts to everybody, so we do need a lot of help with that. And people could volunteer, they could, if they want to buy gifts for the kids
Yeah.
that were, they could do that. There's lots of ways to help out with that particular event,
Okay.
which is probably our biggest event outs that's not a fundraising event, is probably our biggest event of the year.
Outstanding. I look forward to having people find you here and start volunteering for those events. This has been a great interview, Tony. I want to thank you
Thank
for spending time with
you.
us. Any last parting thoughts?
Well, I just want to say how grateful I am to you, Scott, for having me on today, and how grateful we are to the community. I think about how many people do support us already, how many people join buddy walk teams or do come and
Mhm.
volunteer or come and shop at Artful 21. And it means a lot to us that so many people care about what we're doing and who we're serving, and we're just grateful for that.
Oh, well, you deserve all the attention you have because you do such good work. I know the families that are part of your world truly appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Toni Mullee from the Down Syndrome Association of Northeast Ohio. Please look her up and do what you can to help volunteer. Thanks. We'll see everybody on the next episode of the Business Spotlight.